Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? Hope you are good. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at a pretty cool accessory for the Insta360 One R. I think this is the best accessory that kind of boosts the quality of your videos. What I'm talking about is ND filters. Now, these are pretty cool little things that clip onto your camera and basically produce much more cinematic looking video, much better looking video than is possible with just the camera on its own. I've got one of them here attached to my One R. And this is from a company called Freewell. These are the only ND filters for any kind of 360 camera. The One R is the only 360 camera that has this kind of accessory. Now, as you can see here, I've got the 1" mod on my camera right now, and this is an ND filter for that. The company sent me all different kinds of filters for all of the different mods. So for the 360 mod, the 1" mod, and the 4K mod, there are ND filters available for all of them. Now I'm going to explain what these are, what they can do. I'm going to show you some video shot with these filters attached, and yeah, we'll see what we think of them and why I think they are a really good accessory to get. So first, let's just talk about what an ND filter is and why you should get one, what they're used for. So ND stands for neutral density, so neutral density filter, and it essentially blocks out some sunlight, some light. These can be used in photography for making really cool photos where you want a very long exposure, you want some kind of movement to be seen in the photo. I mean, I'll show you some here. This is kind of images you can get from ND filters, but we're mostly using it for video. And in this case, for action cameras, ND filters are very popular because the issue with action cameras like the Insta360 cameras, GoPros, that kind of stuff, is that you cannot change the aperture. They all have fixed apertures. Basically limits how you can impact how much light is coming into your camera. When it comes to filmmaking, there is a rule that a lot of people follow. It's called the 180 rule, which essentially means your shutter speed should equate to about double the numerical value of your frame rate. So that is in order to achieve smooth motion. It just looks better in general. So if you were shooting in a frame rate of 30 frames per second, you would want to shoot in a shutter speed of 1/60th of a second. Now, if you did that in a very bright day with a camera like this or with a GoPro, you would experience a very overexposed image. The video will be so overexposed it will be useless. In a normal camera, you could adjust the aperture, you could, which would help to reduce that effect, but you can't do that with these kind of cameras. So what we do instead is we add these ND filters. So it would be perfect for moving video, but even if you are not using moving video, if your video is fairly still, I still think these are worth using because we can take a look here at some footage shot with these ND filters, and I think they do look so much better than the normal kind of shots you can get with these cameras. So that is a rough explanation of what ND filters are. There is some more things to consider. Sometimes there is some maths involved depending on how bright your scene is and what kind of shutter speed you're using, what aperture your camera is fixed at. So if you want to go more into that, then I'll post some links below, how some stuff you can read on how to work it out. But for the most part, the ND filters provided by Freewell are very easy to use, very easy to clip onto the camera. They give you some instructions in the package of basically how to use it. ND filters are kind of ranked on a numerical level, so ND8 would reduce less light than ND32. So the higher the number, the more light it's going to block out of the lens. So on a very, very bright day, you may want to use the ND32 filter, whereas on a more overcast day, maybe you just want to use ND8. So there is some working out to do, but I mean, if we open up one of these, the filter boxes that they gave me. So this is an ND filter for the 360 mod, and it would just clip onto either side while the camera is attached, while the mod is attached to the camera. There's a little cloth, so make sure to keep them clean because like all kinds of lenses, it needs to be kept clean. But yeah, as you can see here, there's a kind of guide to how to use them. So it basically explains the kind of effect each filter will give depending on how bright the day is or what kind of effect you want to achieve. So yeah, these are best used, I think, either in very bright conditions or conditions where you're going to be moving a lot because you want to get this cinematic effect and that kind of smooth motion with this proper setup of shutter speed and frame rate. But unfortunately, I've not really been able to test them in those conditions because, you know, lockdowns, I've not been able to go anywhere. There really isn't that much to do in London and involves a lot of fast-paced action. So I've just really been out shooting just some pretty boring footage, to be honest, but just showing you the effect it has. So I basically set up the camera to shoot in that 180 rule of 30 frames per second and 1/60th of a second shutter speed, and obviously it's super overexposed, but as you can see here with the ND filter, it just makes it look like it's shot normally, so it produces that kind of more cinematic effect. I do think the videos look a lot better. And I did go around walking, moving around, but you know, this isn't really the kind of footage that would best be used with these filters. I think if you were skiing or if you were like mountain biking and it was a really sunny day, those are the kind of situations where these ND filters would look good. Also, if you wanted to shoot some really cinematic footage using, I guess, maybe this 1-inch lens, it did really work well with that when I was shooting around with that. Yeah, so that's it, I guess, guys. That is the ND filters from Freewell. These are the only ND filters for any kind of 360 camera. We'll check the link below to see where you can buy them from this company. Yeah, they're not going to be for absolutely everyone because this is a slightly more advanced accessory, but it does really boost the quality of your videos, particularly if you want to follow this rule of the 180 rule, and if you really want to get some cinematic footage. Yeah, so I'm going to be keeping them. I'll be using them if I want to shoot some particularly awesome, interesting areas. I mean, hopefully in the next, I guess, 6 months, might be able to go somewhere, might be able to leave this city, which feel like I've been stuck here for ages, but yeah, that's just how it is. So yeah, hopefully towards the end of the year, I'll be able to actually use them in some cooler situations. But until then, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, I will get back to you. If this video was useful, give it a like, that would be really helpful for me. But until next time, guys, I will see you around. Bye.